The future to come in 20 to 30 years. Can it be predicted in the times of global uncertainty? How to map out the contours of the future so that they are more clear and bright. And what can be done by those who are today called the next generation?
Today in the program, in search of the yin-yang harmony.
Очень много выходцев из Шымкента более-менее перспективных.
There are many people from Shymkent, promising young people. The sun greatly affects our mood. We were always ready for sudden guests. This develops interflexibility, allowing us to see the positive side of things rather than negative.
И это не расти через плохую призму, да, а искать какие-то позитивные призмы.
Akmaral Sman is 25 years old. She is a coach for an international volunteer organization. Akmaral is included in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list. She got a master's degree at Queen Mary University of London. She has developed several promising projects, including the UN Model National Network. She works in the region as a chief gender specialist for the UN Development Program.
Гендер всегда была темой.
Gender has always been a personal theme. For my parents, I'm still the one who thinks wrong. I come from the city of Shymkent. I was born in a large family. There are 5 children.
5 детей в семье — это очень много. Мама моя должна была быть очень...
My mom, according to my father, had to be hospitable, even if she's tired, even if she's sick. In the South, it was a custom to always be a hospitable person, and this was above other needs. With such parenting, families lived for years, centuries. They did not always consider the needs of women. The woman was silent.
Женщины, скорее всего, я полагаю, что всегда умалкивали. Я прекрасно помню один день, когда прозвенел звонок.
I remember one day, the bell rang. There was a break. We were all running around in the corridor, playing. One of my classmates tugged at my braid. I turned and pushed him, and I got a hit in my eye. The teacher said that girls must behave themselves. As a result, it was me who was guilty. After that, I got this idea to break stereotypes that interfere with my life.
В итоге я все равно становлюсь виновницей.
I began to wonder why my brother could go to meet his friends and return at 10 to 11 at night, but I couldn't. I could visit my friend and ask my parents if I could stay overnight, and they said, "No, you can't." I said, "I can. If you do not believe me, you can come and see that I'm here at home."
Посмотреть, что я тут дома.
In other words, come on, hold me close. In other words, let me love you.
At the end of 2010, I was involved in a youth volunteer network for the first time. For us, they organized various trainings in the field of gender equality, leadership, HIV, and AIDS. I am the first teenager in Kazakhstan to live with disclosed HIV status.
У нас был тренер, который ездил в регионы и объяснял это школьным студентам. То нас брали с собой.
We had a trainer who traveled to the regions and explained this to school children and students. Volunteers took us with them so that we assisted the trainers. At the same time, we acquired some skills that would be useful to us as future coaches. In a very short period of time, more than 2,000 young children were involved. Our method of teaching and conveying this topic was completely different. We interviewed the audience so that they do not feel that they will be evaluated now. Being ourselves, young people, we worked with youth. It was such a level, peer-to-peer. We provided all the information in the language of youth.
Мы предоставляли на языке молодежи. Навыки коммуникации позволили.
Communication skills allowed me to use the same technique in the UN Model Project. This is a United Nations simulation. It is the same thing that the UN does, but students do it. Students play the role of various presidents. This is kind of a role-playing game. Our task was to go home, to watch foreign and local news, to analyze what was happening in the world and come up with a new topic. For example, to discuss what the Holocaust is.
Новой темой, допустим, обсудить, что такое Холокост. Нам На этой площадке позволяли...
There, we were allowed to turn back to history, to analyze what had gone wrong, to see what decision the UN made at that time, and put forward an alternative. It became viral. It was in fashion in Kazakhstan to organize UN models at universities. So we decided to apply for abroad and go to international sites.
Ездить на международные площадки.
Yeah, you have to get out of the home. 6 allows you to.
Благодаря вот преподавательнице, я помню, английского языка.
Thanks to my English teacher, who taught us tirelessly. She talked so beautifully about Britain because she herself had been there. I remember I was sitting next to the banner of Queen Elizabeth. I looked at her and said, "Someday I will see you."
Сказала, когда-нибудь я тебя увижу. И тут я вижу объявление.
And then I saw an announcement, international conference in London. I wrote an essay and sent it. They replied to me that I had been accepted. I was accepted as a moderator for the UNICEF Department for the Protection of Children's Rights.
Была тема.
We had a topic in English, child marriage before the age of 18.
В нашем комитете было
There were about 80 students from different countries in our committee, and they had to research this theme and create the position of their country, which they represented on the site.
Мы как координаторы, получается, на этой площадке.
We, as coordinators, had to coordinate how correctly they approached that issue, how realistic their proposals were.
Должны были выявить, насколько реалистичны их предложения. Нас посадили.
We were placed in Westminster Hall. This is the hall next to Westminster Abbey, next to the Parliament.
Рядом с парламентом.
Rally at the Central Hall, Westminster, of the National Federation of Old Age Pensions Association.
Большой зал, где когда-то еще
The Great Hall, where once back in 1954, UN agencies gathered and solved world-class issues. 1,504 students were looking at me. I was the only Kazakh woman among the 74 students who had higher education. The whole world was in front of me, and I had nothing to fear. It struck in my head that I had to work for the UN sometime. I want to work for the UN.
Я вот хочу работать в ООН. Приезжаю в Казахстан, вижу объявление.
I came back to Kazakhstan. Then I came across with an announcement. UN Women Agency is looking for a program assistant. The interview passed, and they called me back 20 minutes later and asked, "When will you be able to start work?" And I realized the most interesting thing began at that moment.
Самое интересное начинается вот опять сейчас, да. Тогда у меня
I had 30 projects in which I had to promote gender equality and make it mainstream.
мы работали с кризисными центрами.
We worked with crisis centers, with victims of domestic violence. We worked with business women. Besides this, I really enjoyed continuing to work with young people, so that boys also understand, both men and young guys, students, everybody understand, what is the essence of gender equality.
Интерпретируется, по крайней мере, в Казахстане он с точки зрения как будто женщина.
Gender is interpreted in Kazakhstan like women are trying to take over the world, stop giving birth, become men, and they want to turn men into women so that they wash dishes. It is a wrong interpretation. It's just about providing equal opportunities and rights to certain resources that we have.
Возможностей и прав к тем или иным ресурсам, которые у нас есть.
У меня страх был, здесь, дышать.
According to our statistics, every third woman has been subjected to violence. It is physical, psychological, financial. Having the same skills, the same access to work, for some reason, we do not have the same salaries.
В Казахстане, по крайней мере,
There is a gender pay gap of 33% now in Kazakhstan among men and women working in the same positions. Women make 67% of what men earn. It has been proved by different studies that if at least 30% of women were present at discussions, provided that they are given the opportunity to discuss or plan something, the result will be completely different than if 100% of men were there.
если в зале бы сидели бы 100% мужчин.
Оказание специальных социальных услуг детям должно быть направлено на решение индивидуальных проблем каждого из них. Расширение сфер участия женщин в трудовых отношениях, обеспечение женщинам равного доступа к рынку труда.
Вся семья находится в опасной такой зоне, в районе национального парка.
The whole family lives in the area of the national park, in the danger zone, because there are poachers. only the man has insurance because he is an inspector. He works. But what about the children and the women? If a certain number of officials would solve the issue of a social package for the wives of foresters, inspectors, if there was a woman there, she would say that I have children. I live with my husband. My husband works, but I don't have an insurance.
Я живу с мужем, да, мой муж идет, работает, но я не застрахована.
Зачастую именно женщины жертвуют своей карьерой, чтобы заботиться о своей семье.
Когда мы говорим про гендер, мы также говорим...
When we talk about gender, we also say that this is the right to choose, that this is generally a human right. If I consider myself happy when I sit at home with children, it is my right and no one dares to condemn me for it. If I sit at home with children and I decided to start working because I want to work, no one either has a right to judge me. When a woman leaves home and goes beyond the scope of her routine, she has the opportunity for social development.
Своей рутины у нее появляется возможность социального развития. Также и для мужчин.
The same for men. We give an example with the Prophet Muhammad washed dishes, helped his wife with household chores, and that washing dishes is not a shame. Oh, do you have pictures with me trying on a dress?
Фотки, где я еще примеряю платье. Ну, я вот просто недавно вышла замуж, модели наши.
I got married not so long ago. The model of our family is to listen more to each other and respond to each other's needs so that it does not infringe and narrow our comfort zone. If I know what I need for household chores, if I need to lower the curtains, I can do it myself. I'll do it myself. If he knows that he can make himself a salad, then he just makes himself a salad.
Салат, то он просто нарежет тебе салат. Как дела?
I met Ashat in London. I won a prestigious scholarship from the UN Foreign and Commonwealth Office and went to study at the University of Queen Mary, where I chose the Department of Public Administration.
We made it, bro! We made
Это университет, который...
This is a university that is in the top 20 of Britain and in the top 5 of London. The professors are also amazing, ranging from Oxford teachers to the California Institute. There is an interesting approach to learning, which allows you to think independently.
К учебе, позволяющий тебе думать самостоятельно.
Мне предлагают 4 вида, допустим, сиропа, да?
Ваниль, карамель, миндаль, лесной орех, наверное?
Да, и все.
Хотела бы в старости.
When I get old, turn 60, I would like to sit in my favorite cafe, where all the coins that I collected in the countries that I had visited would be hung out.
Я уже побыла.
I started doing sports recently.
Когда я долго сидела.
When I sat at a computer for a long time in the office, returning home, I realized that osteochondrosis was coming soon. The only way not to strain myself, but at the same time to relax, is yoga.
Слабиться это вот йога. Я люблю ходить пешком.
I like to walk. This is a kind of meditation. When you walk and you see that grandparents cross the road holding their hands, or when you see a baby laughing in a stroller.
Ходит дорогу. Или когда ты видишь ребенка в коляске, который хихикает. Ну, там...
These are some little things that help you return to reality, to life. There are little things that make you much happier than your salary.
Намного счастливее, чем твоя заработная плата. Я сегодня вижу казахстанских женщин.
Today, I see Kazakh women at the stage of forming their own identities. As a woman, I understand that she has the right to certain things in society, that she has a voice, that she has a choice, that she has the right to say no when she wants to refuse.
Что она имеет право сказать нет.
In the future, I see that women are able to preserve wisdom, preserve our culture, authenticity in ourselves.
Смогли сохранить свою мудрость, культуру, аутентичность в себе.
I see us being successful in industries that are not typical for Kazakhstan, such as IT, mathematics, and engineering, and that we will remain a role model country for our region.
Остаемся для своего же региона, страной, на которую хотят равняться.
In the future, Akmaral plans to expand the scope of gender policy and the volunteer movement. She dreams of a humanitarian organization for her homeland, of a university of applied social sciences. Her new projects will be developed considering the industry of new technology and focus on the development of personal qualities.